but your employees are also feeling the weight of all of this, and they're likely to bring it up and bring it to your attention, and you guys even may or may not be on the same page with or come to agreement around some of these issues and these realities. But what you all are shared in your experience is the emotional weight is heavy. And all of us could probably use a little bit extra emotional support in our lives right now. And it's easy when you want to give emotional support to extend yourself, but ask questions that aren't actually really helpful. And so I just wanted to give you a couple ideas around how to offer emotional support to people in your lives that's going to be actually meaningful and helpful. So our first inclination when someone is hurting, myself totally included, is to ask, how can I help? Because we want to help. That's so innate in us. But then the person on the receiving end of that question oftentimes really doesn't know how to answer. They don't know how you can help. They're not sure they don't know what you have available for help. They don't want to impose is a big one. They would love to ask you to maybe do something really big, but they're scared, or they're just don't want to put you out. Or they feel like it's a really big request. You might not interpret it that way. But the point being, how can I help isn't always the most useful question. And it also doesn't always spur people to think about what they need to have their needs met in a helpful way. So a better question than how can I help is, what have people done so far that has been helpful? And so that's a much different question. And it frees them to talk about things without feeling like they're imposing on you or making requests. And it's also going to jog their brain. So instead of asking, how can I help? A better question is, how have people been helpful so far? How have people been helpful so far? That switch has been incredibly helpful, both in my ability to communicate what my needs are and how people can actually help me, as well as asking that question has been extremely beneficial in actually getting to the heart of what people need. People in my life that both work with me and for me, and people in my life that are just relationships. It's a universal question. How have people been helpful so far? The second question, or more of a statement that we tend to leap to, especially those of us that are fixers, like we want to be helpful. We hear what a problem is or where a pain point is, and we leap to, oh, you should, or in my experience, and then we leap into what we think they should do, and we're not connecting them or giving them the opportunity to claim their power in this situation and their own ability to accomplish what needs to get accomplished. We're stripping that from them, and we are simply giving them what we think is a solution. And that, again, is not very helpful, and it's not a question. What is helpful is actually asking people a question that gives their power back to them. And it's asking them, what's worked for you in times like this before? Now, we're going through times that we're facing issues that we don't know what works. We haven't been through this before. But people have felt heavy emotion before. People have felt like they've been drowning and can't keep their head above water before. People have been scared before. So get to the heart of what they have done about the feeling. So you can't fix people's feelings. They often can't even fix their own feelings, but they can talk about them and identify them and learn what are healthy things that they have done before that have worked in times where they've had extreme amounts of stress or grief or loss or anger or frustration, all of the above. What has helped before? What has worked before in times like this can be a question that helps them to start really thinking through in a new way, because you're engaging their brain around it in a different way. That's emotional support. Those two questions can really help people with emotional support in a way that is new perhaps to you to ask those, and maybe new for them to think about it or reframe it. So give it a shot today. I want you to ask somebody that you care about that's struggling, because I know that you probably can immediately have one or two that come to mind. How have people been helpful so far? How have people been helpful so far? And really listen to what they have to say. And the second question, what's worked for you in times like this in the past? In times you've experienced emotions or feelings like this in the past, what's worked in the past? And that's where people are going to feel supported. They're going to feel heard. You're not offering your perspective. You're asking for theirs. And then you can see naturally where the conversation leads, but it's centered on them, and what they actually have experienced and are experiencing, and not unintentionally on yourself and how you interpret it and how you've experienced it and what you think they should be doing and how you think you can help. Flip the script. Make it all about them by asking those questions. Let me know how it goes.